Hi and welcome to GRVO TV, G's Reviews, Views and Opinions. Nikon have announced their spring cashback offers and I want to look at two cameras in particular today. So I'm going to do two separate videos. Firstly the D7000 and also the D5100. I've got the D7000 here and I'm videoing on the D5100 and then I'll swap them over and do it the other way around. So currently the D7000 with £100 cashback is going to cost you about £542, which is an absolute bargain for a real top-notch camera in my opinion. Now I've had both the D7000 and the D5100 for quite a while now, so I know them both reasonably well. There are very small issues with both of them and they're not really major things that I would really worry about, but I will highlight the negative points as well as the positive points when I'm doing these sort of reviews, long-term reviews. So firstly, if we just quick look at my favourite features of the D7000. Well, firstly, and the one that doesn't get highlighted that much, is the viewfinder in this thing. It's big, it's bright, and it's 100% coverage, which is fantastic. And that is one of the very small points that lets the D5100 down, in that it isn't as big, it's not as bright, and it's not 100% coverage. But it's still not bad. But that is fantastic. So that's the first thing, and that's one of the most important things, because let's face it, that's the thing you're using all the time, isn't it? You're looking through the viewfinder all the time, so that's brilliant. The video on it is lovely. I've got no issues with video. I know there are issues with changing aperture in manual mode when you're videoing and all that, but you know, hey ho, just deal with it. If you want to get a camera that you can change the aperture and you want to do lots of videoing, then you buy a Canon. It's as simple as that. So you know, it's not difficult, and there's nothing wrong with the Canons. So there you go. The screen on the back is a lovely 3-inch 921 dot screen. Comes with the cover attached, which is a nice thing, and it's nice and clear. I've not had a reason to not use that. This is my second or third cover, I think, so I do get knocked about and scuffed. And it's a fairly cheap thing just to replace. So that's another nice feature. The auto-focusing system I think is fantastic. It's quick, it seems to lock on well, it's got plenty of points, 39 points in that sort of shape across the middle. Works really well. I tend to stick to, as it is now, autofocus single and single point, so that centre point is, you know, generally how I shoot anyway. But the tracking modes, I do use those for sports when you've got basically all of the focusing points lit up, and it will track subjects and things, and that's good for sports. I do a little bit of sports photography, but not a great deal. So 9 times out of 10 I'm in autofocus single and that single point in the middle, and it works fantastically well, so that's good. What's the other good points I like? Yeah, it's got the Nikon CLS creative lighting system built in, so I use this with my SB700 off camera. You can use the SB600, the 700, the 800, the 900, the 910, any of them off camera. Works really well, so that's a great feature to have. Because it's got a built-in autofocus drive motor, you can use old D lenses like this. This is a 50mm 1.8D as opposed to the newer G, and I think the only difference between that is the Ds have an aperture ring and the Gs don't. But this obviously lens doesn't have a autofocusing motor built in like the new AFS lenses. Like this, for instance, is an AFS lens, so the motor's built in. So the D7000 will drive the autofocus on the older lenses basically, so that's good. The images are lovely, clear, sharp. The file sizes are a nice manageable amount. 16 megapixel CMOS sensor with an XP2 processor, whatever that all means, but essentially what you get is very nice, contrasty, vivid images. The raw files are fairly flat, as you would expect, and a little bit of tweaking soon brings them to life. The fine JPEGs, which is what I use just for everyday stuff, absolutely fine. I have them bumped up, one on the colour or contrast and one on the sharpness, and that seems to work quite nice. It gives you a nice JPEG to use, which is really good. You've got all your usual modes on there. You've got a couple of user modes, some scene modes, which to be honest I never use. But you've got user 1, user 2, which are handy. I have them set for indoor and outdoor. If I'm taking photos, for instance, in a church, I'll have it on U1 for indoor setting. As soon as I walk out the door, flip it to U2, and that brings my ISO down, changes a couple of things, and that's sort of my indoor-outdoor settings. So that works really well for me. It's got a proper fitting on the bottom for a battery grip, so it's got the proper connectors, unlike the D5100, so you can put a nice battery grip on there. That works really well, and I find that nice and comfortable to use when shooting that way up. It's fast. The frame rate is 6 frames per second, and you can have it on continuous high, continuous low, single, quiet mode, mirror lockup, and obviously self-timer. So on high, let me just switch it to that, and then you can change the continuous low to any setting you want. You can have it like 2, 3, 4, 5 frames per second, just to slow it down a bit if you want. So that's nice. So it's quick. The buffer doesn't run out too quick. You put a decent card in there. I use the SanDisk Ultra. That's a SanDisk Ultra 16 gig, 30 megabits per second. So it's not a super quick card, but it's quicker than the camera, if you see what I mean. So it allows the camera to work at its maximum. Works brilliantly, and they're not expensive cards, those now. I think I got them like 2 for 20 quid or something ridiculous. So that's good. You've got a microphone socket on, and these doors are properly hinged little doors, which is a nice feature. They're not just that little rubber thing. You've got your HDMI, your USB, your AV out under there, so that's nice. Front and rear command dials, which is a nice feature for your aperture and shutter, and you can switch them round and have them as set up as you want. If I'm shooting in aperture priority, I have one for aperture and one for ISO, and that's generally how I like to shoot. That works really well. What else? Time-lapse shooting all built in. Active D-lighting. There's no HDR mode, but there are bracketing options you can use if you're into that sort of thing. So yeah, I'm just sort of thinking off the top of my head all the things I like about it. But you know, image quality, absolutely no issues at all. I've blown up images 40 by 30, no problems with that. I've got a canvas which I've blown up, and that was just a JPEG, and I've blown it up to basically the same size as the back seat of my car. It's huge, this canvas, and it looks absolutely fantastic. So no issues with blown up, you know, images. If you're into cropping, you know, you can crop in quite tight on the pictures and still retain a lot of detail because of the 16 megapixel sensor. So yeah, overall, absolutely love my D7000. I am toying with the idea of a D600, but I'm finding it very difficult to make the jump to the D600 with the price that it's at the moment, for the extra benefit and the fact that I'm going to lose some of the I quite like the crop factor on the DX body in the way I shoot. So for me, I don't know, I'm like that at the moment. If I could, I'd have both. I'd have the D7000 for certain stuff and then the D600 for others. But at the moment I'm going to stick with the D7000. I've got some lovely lenses. I've got the Sigma 70-200 2.8. I've got the Nikon 18-200 VR for video and sort of every day, and then my 50-1.8 for low light. I am looking to get at some point possibly the 17-50 OS Sigma 2.8, but I'm going to wait and decide what I do, whether or not I do jump to the D600 or not at the moment before I do that, but that's something else I'm looking at. So there you go, my quick review on the D7000. At the price point it is at the moment, it's an absolute steal. If you've currently got something like a D3000 and a D5000 or a D70 or a D90 or anything like that, this would be a great step up for you for not a lot more money. Anyway, this has been GRVO TV, G's Reviews, Views and Opinions. See you soon. Bye.